Tonight, 11 new COVID-19 cases recorded in the last 24 hours, taking the total of confirmed cases to 1,082. Director of Elections reports that the ECJ and the Ministry of Health have agreed on COVID-19 protocols, including the wearing of masks. Still tonight, Minister of Health and Wellness signed MOU to adopt the Ginger Hill Health Center in St. Elizabeth, and newly resurfaced roadway opened at Burnside Hill in Red Hills, St. Andrew. Good evening. Jamaica has recorded 11 new COVID-19 cases in the last 24 hours, taking the total of confirmed cases to 1,082. Now, the Ministry of Health and Wellness is reporting that of the 1,082 cases, 245 are active, 7 moderately ill, and 1 patient critically ill. Of the 11 new cases, 4 are men and 7 are women, ranging in age from 13 to 49 years. Meanwhile, there have been 7 recoveries in the last 24 hours, taking the total of recovered persons to 761. 62 of the recorded cases have returned to their country of origin. Still making news tonight, Director of Elections Glasspool Brown is reporting that the Electoral Office of Jamaica and the Ministry of Health have agreed on a COVID-19 protocol that includes the wearing of masks. Mr. Glasspool stated that the EOJ and by extension, the Electoral Commission of Jamaica have signed off with the Ministry of Health on an election protocol that every elector is expected to come to the polling stations wearing a mask. Now, each elector will also be required to sanitize before entering the respective polling stations. Also, prior to the general election on September 3, the ECJ will screen all election day workers as part of the COVID-19 protocols. During the voting exercise, the polling stations will be regularly processed. After casting their ballot, each elector will be asked to sanitize their fingers for a second time before he or she dips into the ink, which is also an alcohol-based ink that will help to prevent the transmission of any infection or virus. Still making news tonight, the Minister of Local Government and Community Development and Member of Parliament for Western Kingston, Desmond McKenzie, is urging candidates not to use government vehicles for political campaigns.
A video was circulated showing a vehicle with the SDC logo on it, announcing a message from some candidate who is seeking recognition. The vehicle is not owned by the SDC. It was contracted to do some work during COVID. And they were allowed to use the stickers provided by the SDC. I haul up the SDC about it because it was carelessness on their part. And I have said to the SDC, to the executive director, and it has gone out, nobody that is employed in government must use government vehicle, marked vehicle, to be campaigning.
Minister McKenzie also said that this year's election will not be like the last.
This election is not going to be like the last election. We're not having no public meetings. We're not having no bus with 500 people push through window and man and woman sit down on top of bus and push through windows. That is not a part of what your Jamaica Labour Party government has committed to for this election campaign.
In other news tonight, the Jamaica Council for Persons with Disabilities, JCBD, is advising persons registered with the Council from March 31, 1973 to June 30, 2020, that they can apply for the CARE grant under the Government of Jamaica, GOJ's CARE program. Now, this is an extension of the initiative that started in June 2020 and targets persons with disabilities. The deadline for submission of applications is now August 31, 2020. Executive Director of the JCPD, Dr. Christine Hendricks, says that the decision to extend the application period was taken to ensure that qualified individuals can access this one-off temporary grant. She is therefore encouraging parents and caregivers that once they have someone with a disability who is registered, they should urge them to apply or apply on their behalf. Dr. Hendricks pointed out that this grant is available to persons with disabilities who are unemployed or not formally employed. Individuals who have already benefited under the CARE program should not apply. In other news tonight, Minister of Health and Wellness Dr. Christopher Tufton earlier today signed a Memorandum of Understanding, MOU, officially adopting the Ginger Hill Health Centre in St. Elizabeth. More on this story with Tamara Mikhael.
The directors of National Supply Industrial Center and Hardware signed a Memorandum of Understanding with the Ministry of Health and Wellness earlier today, officially adopting the Ginger Hill Health Centre in St. Elizabeth. Minister of Health and Wellness Dr. Christopher Tufton, in his remarks, said that the Ginger Hill Health Centre, which also serves communities in St. James and Westmoreland on its border, falls under the Adopt a Clinic program of the ministry.
The Adopt a Clinic program came out of a desire, as well as several other programs that we have had, to try to engage the sense of community in building out a healthcare philosophy that says we are in fact our brother's keeper. And you can't be paid for that kind of sentiment or philosophy. It's something that you have to acquire and build within your culture and how you exist and interrelate with each other. And there is no greater way to express that than to look back at your legacy, how you have evolved as a people or as an individual, and make a commitment to give back as part of your contribution to allow others who are coming after you to have the same opportunity that you have had.
Dr. Tufton further explained that over 30 clinics have been adopted so far under the program.
The Adopt a Clinic so far has had 30 adoptions. We have been able to raise some almost 90 million Jamaican dollars. And, you know, I'm really heartened, I'm really happy, pleased with the number of expressions of interest by persons in the diaspora, persons locally, companies who have said, you know, when you really think about it, based on where I am from and how I grew up, those days when I used to run barefoot around my little community and I take a country bus go town and, right? I really need to show some appreciation to that original state where I originated from and those that contributed. And so today is a good day for the 30th time over the last 2 years. And we're still moving on. We have about 7 or 8 more that are lined up. And again, the significance of the event is as much in the adoption as it is in building out the community spirit, which is critical to building better communities and better societies.
In speaking with our news team, community health aide Baletta Fletcher Barracks explained the importance of having the clinic in the community.
Serving the clinic for 19 years now. The 2nd of December coming will be 20 years. And the adoption of the clinic, I feel very proud about it, and I feel good that this is happening at Ginger Hill. It will impact the community a lot because we serve a wide community, a part of St. James and Westmoreland. So I think it will impact the community very well.
Residents who were at the signing today told our news team that they hope that having the clinic being adopted will facilitate a better healthcare system for the communities it serves.
Well, I am very grateful for this new initiative that they have put in place so that improvement can be made to the clinic, and this will better serve the entire community of Ginger Hill and adjacent communities. So we are indeed very grateful to the Chensees for putting on this program here today. I appreciate it very much, and I know the people of Ginger Hill and surrounding areas appreciate it also. If it is set up in a very proper way, right, I think we'll have more doctors to cater for the different illnesses that the people might encounter, and so we would be grateful if we even have a living nurse, midwife too, where people don't have to be rushing to Black River to have babies, but we'll have all those. We are hoping that all these facilities will be in place so it will be better.
Well, this move, I am hoping that the move will bring more medication, more, things that are really needed. Because sometimes I'm even there at the clinic and people will come to get cuts dressed and they might not have everything they need. So now with this adoption, I think more will be provided so that more, citizens can access this instead of having to go all the way to Black River or elsewhere to seek help.
I think it's a great move because the previous owners, per se, it wasn't kept properly. So we just want to see the clinic in a proper hand, in a better hand, and going forward, let's see the development.
Sometimes we are so far from Black River, so sick, we have to hire a vehicle for how much dollars to go to Black River. And if we have a clinic here and have doctor and nurses, you know that it would be a better position. You understand what I mean? So I would very thankful to see if it would help the community.
For Mello TV News, I am Tamar Mikhail.
In news from St. James, a team of officers from the parish seized 17 assorted rounds of ammunition during a joint police-military operation in Pitford, Granville yesterday. Reports coming in to our news center from the Montego Bay Police are that at approximately midday, lawmen were operating in the area when a premises was searched and 10.30 cartridges for 5.56 rounds, 2 9mm rounds and 145 round were found inside a plastic bottle in bushes. No one was arrested in relation to this seizure. In news from St. Catherine, the police are probing the circumstances surrounding the fatal shooting of a woman and the injuring of a man on King Street in Linstead earlier today. The woman has been identified as 58-year-old Millicent Fisher-Gunn, supervisor of Bottom Banbury, Linstead. Reports from the Spanish Town Police coming into our news center are that at approximately 5:30 a.m., Fisher-Gunn was sitting in a parked vehicle when a lone gunman approached her and opened gunfire, hitting her to the upper body. A man that was standing along the roadway was also shot. Fisher-Gunn and the injured man were taken to the hospital, where she was pronounced dead and the man treated and released. In news from St. Elizabeth, the police there are advising members of the public to be on the lookout for the sale of watermelons in nearby communities and parishes that were stolen from a farm in Congo Hole District, Southfield, between Tuesday and Wednesday of this week. The produce is believed to be unhealthy for human consumption because it was sprayed with toxic chemicals, Pegasus and diethane, shortly before being stolen. The police are saying that as a result of this development, members of the public are being advised to be vigilant when purchasing the fruit. Still making Mello TV news tonight, a newly resurfaced roadway was opened in Burnside Hill in Red Hills, St. Andrew yesterday. Here is Tamara Mikhail with more on this story.
The Ministry of Local Government and Community Development, along with the Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation, KSAMC, opened a newly resurfaced roadway in Burnside Hill in Red Hills, St. Andrew yesterday. Mayor of Kingston, Delroy Williams, explained how this project will enhance the economic growth of the city.
We are basically redeveloping Kingston, and in the terms of trying to make it easier for persons to enter into the commercial centers of the city. So we have to put in the road infrastructure. The network into the commercial center has to be there. So what we have been doing is, as a strategy, is to ensure that we build out the road infrastructure connecting suburban communities and rural communities. And we are connecting those roadways to sub-arterial and arterial roads. And those sub-arterial and arterial roads will move persons into the commercial centers of the city. So we're connecting the what we call collective streets, streets that come in from suburban and rural communities, connecting those suburban and rural communities onto the sub-arterial and arterial roadways, which will take you right into the city centers. And that is good for increasing commerce in our city spaces and increasing prosperity within the city and developing the city centers.
Mayor Williams also said that many of the roads in rural communities in the parish have not been fixed for many years.
These roadways, a lot of them have not been touched for years, over 20, 30 years. The municipality is committed to spending its funds to benefit the residents of the municipality. And spending it is as you see today. We have to spend the monies and the resources of the municipality to develop the municipality, and there has to be a strategy behind it, which is what I'm explaining. So more and more roads as we move into the end of the year and into the new year, that you'll see more and more roads being done. Whatsoever the cost is, we are at the municipality, we have to plan and manage our resources so that we have the impact on these communities and that we have the overall impact on the city of Kingston in terms of developing a city that is prosperous and a city that our residents can be proud of.
The residents expressed joy that the roadway is finally fixed after so many years of it being in disrepair.
For 30 odd years, this road was fixed. 30 odd years. And seeing it now, the position we're in now, excellent. 30 years I'm driving on this road. Tires and wear and tear on the vehicle, front end parts, oh my God. It was really, really bad. I'm going to tell you, bad.
Before it done like this, I didn't want you to come and see it first. Because not even donkey would have taken this road there because it would have mashed up in foot. Plus for your own, plus for the vehicle them. Many times you see, you can't come out, you have to walk it, go at junction, to get the vehicle to come down. The taxi man, them will run on the road there, every day them ball board them front end, them shocks, them everything. We're glad to see everyone all do.
So it's now.
A whole lot of potholes. You have to take your time and drive when you're driving, and although you take your time, you have to spend a lot of money on your vehicle, rack and pin and all sorts of parts that you have to buy to maintain your vehicle. Yes, other people mentioned that they spend over 100,000 or so on the road, and they have to spend on it regular because of the condition of the road. Here, every year come by, we heard that it's supposed to be fixed, and it actually happened, and we are very glad for it.
For Mello TV News, I am Tamara McHale.
In other news tonight, the Flow Foundation will be launching a $60 million national development pilot program in support of digital education and entrepreneurship across Jamaica. The announcement was made by the Flow Foundation's chairman, Stephen Price, who explained that many Jamaicans and micro, small and medium-sized enterprises, MSMEs, are being left behind amid the digital transformation. The digital learning element of the program is aimed at increasing connectivity for schools and communities and providing certified online training for professionals. The other element will support MSMEs through a Jumpstart program for entrepreneurs. The initiative was also endorsed by Minister of Science and Technology, Favour Williams. She said, and I quote, I believe that this program is timely as we create the new Jamaica where access to the internet is a right, no one gets left behind, and government and businesses are fully digital." End quote. And those were the stories making news. I'll return with a recap. We'll now take a break and then join Christopher Scott with sports.